Hello, how you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Compact Claustrophobia. So I got some exciting news to share. I finally decided to get my own marimba. Ever since high school, this instrument has been my favorite of all time. I did talk about this in an earlier episode. I was able to borrow one over the Thanksgiving break, and I made a little recording of it, but I've never had the opportunity to actually have my own, and it is time. I actually did order one, and it gets here as of this recording, it gets here tomorrow, and I'm so excited. Really, I'm just trying to pass the time so I can jam out. So once I get comfortable with it, I will be able to make music clips and also little jam sessions like I do the accordion and other instruments, right? But out of all the instruments I know how to play, the marimba definitely is the one that I know the most and the one I'm the most comfortable with. So it's a good thing. I'm very excited. Anyway, so what we did last time was we built this nuclear fission reactor. We did learn that it's not entirely built correctly because I didn't assume the correct fuel, meaning if I turn it on, it will heat up, and if it gets to the max, that is a rest in peace or reactor, and that's a big no-no, but I can still turn it on for a little bit, right? As long as I watch it, should be fine, but I'm not really going to focus on this today. It's still giving us good amount of power, so I can turn it on whenever I am low on power, but it's not going to be the focus for today. What I do want to do today is start setting up refined storage automation. And the first thing I want to work on is hop graphite. And the reason for that is that hop graphite, of course, turns into diamond nuggets. And we use these diamond nuggets in the advanced processors, construction cores, and whatnot. And these are all used in the more important machines for refined storage, such as the external storage, which is huge, the exporter, and the crafter. Yes, this one. I would like to set it up so that a lot of the machines here are going to be out of the way because they're kind of it's getting a little cramped in here, and I would like our home, I guess you can call this our home box, to be free of clutter. Maybe even add a little decoration or anything that's nice. Like, what are these sieves doing here? It's just an eyesore. But that's the idea. So what I want to start off with is getting another small compact machine and then cram some of these machines in there, like the ones that take up a lot of space, but cram them in there and then also set up crafting for them. What I really like about modded Minecraft is digital storage. I know I've talked about it before, but one of my favorite things about modded Minecraft is being able to just stand still and request things. I know some people might think that's a little boring, but I really enjoy that because it takes a lot of effort to get there in the first place, right? And doing that effort is part of the fun for me. So I'm going to enjoy this. And the cool thing about setting up the hop graphite is that I will be able to use a lot of the machines for other recipes, right? So eventually, I would love to set up the compact machines themselves. These guys are going to be a little more involved because there's a lot of machines that we have to use to get there, right? Okay, so I got a compact machine. I'm going to put it here for now just so I can do some debugging, right? So before I go moving a whole bunch of machines, I do want to make sure that I am able to connect everything over. And I'm going to need a couple of tunnels for this. That's 1 and 2. Thank you. So I think we're okay with just 2. I need 1 for power and 1 for refined storage cabling. So one thing we have to consider is what machines are we going to need? And whenever I set up recipes for an item, I like to start from the top-down approach. For example, the final product I want is hop graphite ingots, right? This is what we blow up for the diamond nuggets. Whenever I see a percent chance, I don't like to set up a recipe for that because there's a lot of guessing involved, and I don't like to guess. I like consistent results, like 3-to-1. So once I get this high impact compactor, then I'll set up a recipe. But for this one, I won't do that. So I'll focus on hop graphite, right? Of course, to get hop graphite, we have to smelt hop graphite. So this is the first recipe that I want to do. And this is what I mean by top-down approach is we start from the top resource we want to get and we work our way down until we're able to craft it. So in order for us to actually set up recipes, we need what's called I say this like I know what it's called because I'm so used to applied energistics. Crafting grid, that's what I have. A pattern grid to create them. And then I think that's it, right? Yes, so we need the pattern grid to actually create the patterns. So we need another grid. It's going to be a lot of crafting here, right? But we have some diamonds and we're making more hop graphite, so we'll be able to get some in a little bit. So let me craft this grid. And of course, once I get more hop graphite, I also want to set up these processors to be crafted as well. But we'll get there in due time, right? Okay, so we have our pattern grid. And I'll go ahead and just put this guy right there. What this guy needs are patterns. Not too expensive. It's just a bunch of redstone glass and quartz enriched iron. We have all of that. And I have little options here or dictionary. So I can use like items and then processing to either use a like not crafting table versus crafting table recipes, right? This is going to be a processing recipe. I don't know if I'm able to put them here. Let me double check here. I also have to tell this to use JAI synchronized. The recipe I want is hop graphite, so it does work. Okay. So I want one piece of hop graphite to turn into hop graphite. That's the whole idea. Now, it won't really work until I have somewhere to put this pattern, and that's where the crafters are for. These guys are the ones that are able to push items into machines. And you'll notice here that we need 3 diamond nuggets per each one. Uh-oh. It's a little pricey. I can make one at least, which is pretty nice. So let me craft one of these, and then I'll try to explain what this does. And we have our crafter. And now we're totally out of diamond nuggets. That's okay though. We're on our way to make more. So where am I going to put this? That's a good question. I think I'm going to start moving machines around. Not quite sure where to put this right now. So we also have to keep in mind where our tunnels are going to be, right? So this is, what direction is this? West. Yes, it's west. And then this will be facing north. So I would go in here and put 2 tunnels. So one for north for power. And then one right here. I'm assuming it works. It looks like it does work. And then we have power right here, right? So the first machine that I want to use is a redstone furnace. And the cool thing is whenever I set up these recipes, I'll be able to use them for other things as well. Furnace is going to be the first one. I should really get into the habit of using my crescent hammers much faster. So we would put that guy right there. So I'm going to configure this to accept items from the bottom and then export from the top like that. So we want to try to maximize as much space as possible. So this is going to look a little messy. Pretty sure you guys expected that already, right? But that's the nature of the pack. It's going to get messy. So first thing I want is a crafter. And this doesn't actually have to be a cable. So I would put this guy like that. And it has to face into the machine. And this is where I can put a pattern, right? Right now, we should be able to see a pattern for hop graphite ingots. I take it out, we have a craft option. So I can craft one, and it looks like we need hop graphite. But there's another catch to this, and I'll show you what I mean. Hop graphite. So if I try to craft it, it won't let me. I mean, it'll say yes, but it won't let me because we don't actually have crafting storage. Actually, I'm curious. What happens if I craft it? It might be a little different than Planet Logistics, so I'll try to put that one. Oh, look at that. It worked. Okay, so you don't need external storage. That's interesting. I thought you did. Because applied energistics, you actually needed a crafting storage to handle all that stuff. I requested one, and it did push hop graphite, and it made me an ingot. Right, so the next step is to actually put it back into storage. And that is where a importer is going to be. So what I would like to do is this. We're going to have a cache, not a cache, a strongbox. And then look at that, we have plenty of these guys already. So strongbox is going to hold all of the outputs, and then we're going to need an importer to take the outputs from our crafting back into storage. This one shouldn't be too bad. There's no diamonds involved in this one. So this is another example of what I can do. So for me to craft basic processors, well, I can teach it that recipe. So if I try to search for basic processors, I try to teach it and then put that back into this crafter. There we go. At some point, to make this a lot faster, there is another block I can make. It is the crafter monitor or crafter manager. This one lets me access all crafters that are on the network. And I can access this one without having to actually visit it. But that's a little expensive, right? Yeah. So I'm not going to, that's very expensive, actually. So I'm not going to worry about it. That looks like 8 diamonds just to craft this one. And there we go. We have crafted 2 processors. So next thing I need to do is to be able to push the items right here. So if I try to craft something like a piece of stone, for example, it'll push the items here, and then I would use an importer to bring that back into the network. I swear I'm going to set up these sieves at some point because I need a lot of bone meal for this, and I'm getting a little annoyed manually doing this. So we can also make a recipe for the improved processors. I won't show every single recipe I add, right? Because it's going to be a little much at some point. But I just want to show the earlier ones just to show that it does work, right? So we can craft one. And then it went into this chest here, which is what I like. And then we have an importer, and there we go. So with this importer, this is going to, like it says, import back into storage. So I will face it into the chest and then connect it to cables. Doesn't look very nice, but you know what? We got to make do with what space we have. That's going to stay up there just fine. So now we have a crafter into here. I do remember the more modern versions of refined storage has bigger crafters. I don't know if you can like get more because this only has 9 slots. It's not a lot. Pretty sure I'm going to have a lot of recipes at some point. I don't know. Maybe I'll find something about it. So now we have those available. So if I look up a processor and I try to craft one, right? It wants me to make a raw basic processor. So the issue with this one, so this is a crafting table recipe, right? With these, you just need another crafter, and it doesn't have to be facing anything. If you just have a crafter by itself, for example, not into a machine, it'll actually just create the recipe like by hand, and then it goes back. But you have to tell it to be one of these crafting table recipes. We're not there yet, right? Because each crafter takes a little bit of processing to do that. It takes 3 diamonds per. So let's get a couple of them going. All right, how much do we get out of 41 ingots? 10. 10 is actually pretty good. So definitely want to set up recipes for this, but the first thing we're going to want is a crafting table for this. So we do want a recipe for this. So I'll make any recipe I can that involves the smelting. And once we get more, I will also set up the interface or the crafting manager so that I don't have to walk back and forth. Yeah, okay, so this is an older version of the pack. I know the modern ones, they do let you, I think, press Control Plus, and it'll actually craft anything in here that you have a recipe for. But right here, no, we can't do that. That's fine. And we got another crafter. Now this guy, this is temporary. I'm just going to put it right here for now. I don't know, actually. I'll put it right here for now. This is going to be temporary, right? So, for example, if I wanted to craft more crafters, it's kind of funny for me to say that, I would have a recipe for that here, all right? And I would put that in this crafter. So that now, if I wanted to craft a crafter, there's a lot of crafting words. Now we are able to craft it, but we just need all the other resources, right? So I need something for machine casings, construction cores, destruction cores, and a raw advanced processor. So we'll keep going down that route. And this is also another example of what I mean when I say top-down approach. I try to craft an end result, and then I go down the list. And then I keep requesting it until I'm actually able to craft the thing. Another thing that I want to work on is I think it's called a crafting monitor. Yeah, crafting monitor. This one is what lets us see everything that is currently being crafted. And I think I should make that right now. And we're already running out of space for a crafter. That's fine. Is there like a capacity card I can use? No. What else is in here for refined storage? I thought there would be an upgrade for it. There might be. If someone knows what I'm looking for, feel free to let me know. So it was adding more space. I don't think there is. That's fine. Then we can just add more crafters. Okay, so we have a crafting monitor. This is just going to help us with debugging. So it looks like I have all of this. I requested that a while back. All of this is when I was debugging, so I'm going to take that, just delete all of that. So porcelain and clay is probably a recipe I would need. So if I try to craft a crafter, it sounds so funny for me. We need processor binding. And this is just a general idea of what I'm doing. I just keep adding recipes until I don't need any more. Okay, so I think I got the crafter fully set up down to the base resources. And it looks like we're just missing diamond nuggets. And the rest of the stuff like clay and string, I'm just going to put those in manually as I need them, right? So in total, we needed 3 crafters to set this up. I ended up putting him in this room just so I can have more space. So a whole bunch of recipes here, a bunch here, and then a couple extra over here. So now we're able to craft some. So back to the original idea of getting hop graphite automated by request. We still need to set up hop graphite. So I do want to set up a separate crafter for the squeezer and then one for the crusher. The crusher is used for a couple other recipes like the compact machine stuff. So I think I want to set this up, and I'm going to break up this machine here. All of this, the first stage here from turning pulverized charcoal into coke, it'll just be one crafter. I'm not going to move any of this, but everything after that, like the crusher and the squeezer, will be its own setup. So let's try crafting 2 more crafters. I need 3 in total to get this going. If I try to request 2, I just need a couple more bone meal and some more diamond nuggets. So I'll get that going. Okay, 63 hop graphite. How lucky am I? Only 9, really? That kind of hurts. You know, sometimes I like looking at the crafting monitors just to see the status of everything. Crafting 2 of the crafters right now, right? And it looks like it's going pretty well. What is this? Machine doesn't accept item because you're working on other recipes. Yeah, okay, so nothing's broken. All right, so we was able to craft them pretty quickly, actually. So 3 crafters, right? One of them will be for the squeezer, one for the crusher, and then one for the pulverized charcoal to coke. So I will have to move everything over to this box, and it's going to be the same setup over here. It's just going to be a compact machine instead of a machine. So that shouldn't be too bad. So the squeezer will be first, and this guy is going to need a crafter facing into it. Oops. Oh, don't tell me he deleted that. No, he didn't. Okay. Crafter going into it, and then you have power, and then a way to get the items out. I'm going to give you a servo just for that. So I connect one tunnel to the power, and then the other tunnel here. This is the fluid output, right? Yeah. And then the other tunnel here to the items. Yeah, this one. Up to item duct, and then I need another one for the actual items. Like that. I don't know if it's going to be able to push it without a servo. We'll double check that. I can confirm that right now. And this one for sure is going to need you. And one more. That's right. And then a servo. I don't know if the outside needs a servo. Let's try that out. I'm going to take off the servo from this guy and see if it is able to push items. If only one side has a servo, and then this one is an auto push also, we'll see that. So the recipe I'm going to try to craft here is 8 for 1 hop graphite dust. Like that. So if I can put that recipe here and then try to request one, hopefully I have enough for it. I don't know if I do. I would like one of you, please. Craft it. Then we'll see how it does it. Okay, it was able to get it, and it does push the item out. Yeah, look at that. Okay. So if I check the crafting monitor, it has been completed, and we have a hop graphite. Okay. So if I wanted to craft an ingot, now we can. Craft another one. We should be able to craft another one. Sweet. Okay. So that is the squeezer going, and then I need the crusher. And the crusher will go right here. Then another crafter to face into it. Maybe I should have like signs telling me what machine it does what, right? Because right now I don't know. And then it looks like you don't need a servo, so I'll just put that right there. And then let's go configure everything on the inside again. So power, of course, will be on the back of the machine. I like how it's able to tell you what it's connected to. That's really helpful. So that's connected to power. That's stone flux duct, right? That powers the machine. This one is going to be our item input from the crafter. Yes. And then this one is going to take the items out and facing up right to the item duct. And then we export. There's a couple of things in here already. And I think I have to update the outside for it to work, right? Unless this one is a little different. It doesn't output from a chest. I don't know, actually. Yeah, it looks like I do have to update it. See, I'm learning things as we go. So now you should be able to see the hop graphite coming out of there. Yeah, look at that. Look at that. Okay. So, and then we add a recipe for that. I think I need to craft a couple of patterns, though. So I was checking my recipes and it looks like, yeah, the importer is a little slow. I think what I can do is actually just use an interface instead, which doesn't look too bad, actually. So this is going to help out because it's instant transfer, I think, which is, you know, faster than not having instant transfer. So I think I'll do that. Still waiting on things. Yeah, because it's definitely slowed down because it's trying to import all of the iron that it needs, and it's a little slow. So the other option would be to just make speed upgrades for this. The interface is already instant transfer, so it's way better to do that. Okay, we have our interface. So if I put that guy instead of the strongbox, should be able to place it like that. And it essentially does the same thing. And then we have a cable. And now that should be way faster. For example, if I try to craft like a stack of iron ingots, right? Make a stack, do that. And it should instant transfer now. Yeah, it's much faster. At least I think it is. I may need to add some more speed upgrades to that, but you know what? It's an improvement still. Okay, anyways, I needed some patterns. I did get those patterns crafted. And we put those here. So the crusher recipe needs to do coke dust. This stuff. And we're not using that coke, we're using this one. It's a little different. And then we put that in the crafter. This one for the crusher. It's going to be a weird rename. I'm wondering if I'm able to rename those. So I don't need to have wires here because they actually connect to each other, by the way, if you didn't know that. So if I were to request coke dust, are you able to do that? Oh, it looks like it's working. And then this guy pushes out, and then this guy back in the interface, which goes back into our storage and crafting monitor. It is... Oh, no, it finished. Okay. I was just making sure. It took a little bit to respond. Yeah, I might need to speed up the item importing at some point, but I'll figure that out some other time. So now that we request hop graphite, we should be able to... Let's say I want 20, right? We just need a bunch of coke. And now we have a bunch of it left over. So I think at this point, I'm not going to store this anymore. And then we'll rely on requesting things. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We're full. That's a little bit of an issue. I'll worry about that right now. So the next thing to deal with is moving this machine, you know, our pulverized charcoal to coke setup. And it'll be pretty much the same thing, same idea, right? We got a crafter facing into it, and then I have to configure all the inputs and outputs. So this one is going to be our crafter. We actually don't need a servo right there, right? Because we already figured out that it doesn't need a servo. So this one is going to be taking our pulverized charcoal, and this gets converted into basically into coke. I'm going to leave this whole system here. If I need more manufacturers, I'll just make more manufacturers. It's not a problem. So it does all of that. I also need to do the power, and you're already connected to power just fine. Then this one has to be pointed up for our output. Yes, I think that's everything we need. And then connect right there. And I think that's it, actually. So this recipe is going to be a little interesting. We'll go ahead and just do a stack. And we need pulverized charcoal, which is stored in this machine over here. We got a couple of... No, just take it all off for that anyways. And I'll put a stack here. So the idea here is it wants to turn... There's no inventory. It wants to turn a stack of pulverized charcoal into a stack of coke. That's what it's going to expect. So I'm going to put that here. And then request coke. And then we'll see how it crafts. It should push the stuff from this crafter into this machine, which it didn't. Did I put in the right machine? No, you're there. Machine does not accept item. Why not? Maybe because it's not a thermal foundation machine. So maybe you do need a servo in this case. Why don't you accept it? A little confused here. Hang on. Yeah, I guess it's not accepting it. I think it's a little weird with manufacturing machines. That's okay. We can work around this. My poor inventory, though, needs a little help. That's okay, though. So I'm going to move this one up here, facing the crafter, and then I'll give it like a buffer chest. And then this chest here. Yes, this chest accepts the items. Yeah, it's behaving a little weird with manufacturing machines. I don't really understand it, but that's fine. We have workarounds, as always. Then this guy enable. So now you push into this machine just fine. Yes. So now you get all of this, and then you go down the route into here. This is a thermal foundation machine, so now I don't mind. I think it has something to do with capabilities. It's this word that gets thrown around sometimes. I don't fully understand it, but something to do with like some machines are compatible with other, or some mods are compatible with each other and whatnot. It looks like nuclear craft might be the problem child in this case, but that's okay. So it's going to craft all of that like normal, and then we process it here, and then it gets output into the item duct. So these are thermal foundation machines, so these are completely okay. Excuse me, thermal expansion, right? Same thing. And that gets pushed into here. So now we have a way to craft pulverized charcoal into coke. So next thing I should probably work on is more drives, because I'm out of space. I don't really know where this is going to go. Look at that. We have more space right there. Just fine, right? I should also probably add recipes for the 1Ks. Or how about the 4Ks? How bad are these? 4K storage parts are what we want. I'm going to stick with 1Ks because I don't really want to set up anything to get the processor bindings until maybe another episode. So right now we'll stick with 1K. So yeah, let's make a recipe for the 1Ks. And pretty soon we'll be able to work on the expanded ones. As long as we have some form of storage, it's going to be nice, right? So this is a crafting table recipe. So I'll just put that right there. And then it should be able to craft me 1K things. I need 8 of you. Not 18, 8 of you. Sand. I'm not surprised. I keep needing a bunch of sand. I need to fully set up a CobbleWorks to like interface with this stuff. Okay, we should have everything ready for 8 of these 1Ks. This recipe, yes. 8. Then we have an extra 8,000 items of storage. So it looks like we're kind of running out of time, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up for today. It was more of a crafting heavy episode, but we did get a lot of infrastructure going, and this is going to help us out with a lot of our adventures, right? So next episode, I do plan on finally setting up a proper CobbleWorks and storage for sand, gravel, dust, and cobblestone, the big 4, right? Or small 4, whatever you want to call them. Because we need a ton of sand for glass, and glass is used for a lot of refined storage recipes. So I'll be able to work on that. And like a designated storage for that too. One where I don't have to touch it ever again, and it just makes me all the stuff. And then I will be able to store it in a cache and then access that through an external storage, right? Which does need more diamonds, but we have a good source of that now, which is, well, we're working on that, right? So I'm just curious, how many can I craft a stack? Look at that. Give me a stack of hop graphite, so it can give me like 2 nuggets. It's all luck based, right? But for now, I will end the episode here. I appreciate your time and support. Thanks for watching. And keep an eye out on my posts, because I'm going to be talking about the marimba a lot. Because again, I am very excited for it. Anyways, I will see you guys in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.